a car with no rear window, a dashboard wider than most living room TVs, massage seats in every position, 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. And it doesn't come from Germany, it doesn't come from America, it was built in China, and it is heading to North America. This is the AVATR 12. And by the time you finish this video, you're going to understand why the entire premium auto industry is paying very close attention right now. For most of the last 2 decades, the story around Chinese cars followed the same script. Affordable, functional, nothing that made you look twice. If you wanted something with real engineering ambition behind it, you looked to Germany, maybe Japan, maybe Tesla. That was just how the industry worked, and most people assumed it would stay that way, but industries don't stay frozen. They shift, sometimes slowly, sometimes all at once. What has been happening in the Chinese EV space over the last few years is not a slow shift. It's more like pressure that has been building for a long time and is now releasing everything at once. New manufacturers, new technology, new ideas about what a car is actually supposed to feel like. The AVATR 12 sits right at the sharp end of all of that. And here's where the story gets interesting. This car is not the product of one company. It's a 3-way partnership between Changan, one of China's most established automakers, CATL, the company that makes battery technology for a massive chunk of the world's electric vehicles, and Huawei. Yes, that Huawei. When those 3 decided to build a luxury sedan together, they were not aiming at the middle of the market. They were aiming at the top. And what they built genuinely earns that ambition. So let's actually walk through what this car is, starting with the thing most people notice first. The AVATR 12 stretches to just over 5,000 millimeters in length with a wheelbase of 3,020 millimeters. That puts it longer than a BMW 5 Series and right alongside a Mercedes EQE. These are serious full-size luxury sedan proportions, but it doesn't carry its size the way those cars do. Instead of the upright formal stance of a traditional luxury sedan, this thing sits low and wide. The roofline flows in one unbroken fastback line from the roof all the way down to the tail. It looks like something that's moving even when it's standing still. The front ditches the traditional grille entirely. In its place, you get a clean, sculpted face with razor-thin LED headlights that cut across the nose like glowing blades. At night, pulling up behind this car at a traffic light, you genuinely do a double take. It doesn't look like a car, it looks like something from about a decade ahead of where we currently are. But the rear is where the design does something nobody expected. The AVATR 12 removes the traditional rear window completely, no glass. Instead, a camera system feeds to screens inside the cabin, leaving the rear profile perfectly smooth and uninterrupted. When you first hear about it, it sounds like a gimmick. When you actually see it, it just looks inevitable. Like this was obviously always the right way to do it, and everyone else just hadn't gotten there yet. Now let's step inside, because this is where things really start to separate. There is a particular feeling you get inside a car that was designed by people who were genuinely excited about what they were building. The AVATR 12 has that feeling the moment you sit down. Stretching across the full width of the dashboard is a single continuous display running close to 35 inches from one side to the other. Navigation, speed, media, driving data, all presented in one seamless interface. Most premium German dashboards are genuinely excellent, but they feel busy and compartmentalized by comparison. This feels unified, like someone actually thought about how a human being processes information while driving and then designed around that. Below that sits a large central touchscreen running Huawei's operating system. If you have ever used a flagship Huawei device and been impressed by how smooth it felt, this is that experience scaled up and built into the center of a car. Voice commands work the way you actually hope they will, rather than the way they usually do. And because the car receives over-the-air software updates, it doesn't stay frozen at the version it was when it left the factory. It improves over time the way the best consumer technology does. The seats are wrapped in premium leather with heating, ventilation, and massage functions across all positions. That long wheelbase does something very specific for rear passengers. It gives them the kind of leg room that makes a long drive genuinely comfortable rather than something to endure. Sitting in the back of the AVATR 12, you start wondering whether this car is competing with the Mercedes E-Class or whether it quietly has its sights set on the S-Class. But comfort and technology are not the part of this car that stops the conversation cold. That comes when you look at what it actually does on the road. The dual-motor all-wheel drive setup produces around 578 horsepower with torque figures sitting around 650 Newton-meters. 0 to 60 takes roughly 3.9 seconds. Read that again. 3.9 seconds in a large, fully loaded 4-door luxury sedan with massage seats and a 35-inch dashboard. That is not sedan performance. That is sports car performance wearing a business suit. The 94.5 kilowatt-hour battery pack combined with an 800-volt electrical architecture means charging happens at a pace that is genuinely practical. Adding hundreds of kilometers of range during a proper coffee stop is not a marketing promise. It is what the hardware is built to do. Total range on a full charge can reach around 700 kilometers under standard testing conditions. In real-world terms, that means driving from Boston to New York with meaningful range left over and zero anxiety about the next charger. And then there is the driver assistance setup. Multiple cameras, radar sensors, and 4 separate LiDAR units all working together through Huawei's ADS system. 4 LiDAR units means the car has essentially no blind spots. The system handles advanced highway driving assistance, automatic lane changes, and intelligent parking with a level of smoothness that makes it feel less like a driving aid and more like a genuinely capable co-pilot. With close to 600 horsepower available the moment you press the accelerator, having that level of intelligence watching the road alongside you is exactly what you want. Now here's the part that actually changes the conversation. Take everything described above and imagine a European or American manufacturer building it. The design investment, the Huawei-level software, the quad LiDAR system, the 800-volt architecture, the premium interior, the sub-4-second acceleration. You would be looking at a price tag somewhere north of $80,000 to $100,000. Minimum. The AVATR 12 starts at the equivalent of roughly $37,000 in its home market. The fully loaded top trim sits at around $59,000 for everything this car is. Now, bringing a vehicle like this into North America changes the equation. Import tariffs, regulatory compliance, local distribution, after-sales infrastructure, all of that adds up, and the final number for a North American buyer would be higher. But the underlying point stands regardless of the final sticker price. Because the point is about what becomes possible when a manufacturer can deliver this level of technology and this level of refinement at this kind of base cost. It resets the expectations of what any car at any price point should be able to offer. And that is the thing that has established luxury brands genuinely uncomfortable right now. The AVATR 12 is a remarkable car, but the more important thing it represents is a direction. A few years ago, calling a Chinese luxury EV a credible rival to BMW, Mercedes, and Tesla in the same breath would have sounded like an overclaim. Today, you can go through the AVATR 12 spec sheet line by line and find it matching or exceeding those cars in category after category. Legacy automakers didn't lose because they got worse. They lost because someone else got better, faster. The EV era was always going to be a reset moment for the auto industry. When the fundamental architecture of a car changes, the advantages built up over decades of refining combustion engines don't automatically transfer. New players can enter with no legacy costs, no model lines to protect, and no reason to do things the way they have always been done. The AVATR 12 is what happens when that freedom is actually used. And this is not a one-off. It is part of a broader wave that is producing results in real vehicles that real people can buy right now. The competition in the premium EV space is about to become genuinely fascinating to watch. Because if this is what $50,000 looks like now, what exactly are you paying $100,000 for?